Alright, squash and stretch. The most entertaining of the bunch, I think. In my opinion. But each to their own, I suppose. What is squash and stretch? Squash and stretch, to answer my own damn question, would be an illusion of speed and impact, where you take a subject, in this case being a box, and you will manipulate its pose and its shape to give the illusion of it going fast or it impacting something quite harshly. Here's an example that I made in like 2 minutes of a box, and it lands and it comes to a stop. It's presumably dropping from a high point, but it's like the bouncing ball, but a BTEC version of it. Where, alright, here's where squash and stretch gets quite simple, to be honest with you. All you have to remember is when something's going fast or being dragged or something, it will stretch. And when something impacts something else, it will squash around that object, in this case being the ground. An important thing to note, however, is let's say this is the normal volume, mass, and shape of the box. That when you stretch it or squash it, you keep the volume the same. Say it is a water balloon, okay? A water balloon and it's filled with water. Say when you stretch it, oh shit, when you stretch it, that it stays the same and the water doesn't spill out over the side because, you've stretched it too little, or it doesn't even fill up at all. You want it to remain the same. So make sure you keep those shapes consistent. So if you stretch one side, you have to squash the other side. Like with this. Say this, you have this. If you're going to squash one side, if you're going to squash this side, you have to stretch this side. It's just how that would work. You can't have this, because that's incorrect. You can't have, say, if you're going to stretch it, you can't have this. I mean, if you were to be super extreme about it, and go like super far up where it could accommodate all that, original area, then sure, you can do that. But just try to keep it consistent. Yeah, that's what I would recommend for 2D uses, and pretty much every use is just using it sparingly to convey speed when you can, which not a lot of studios will let you, because it is not physically possible. It would break your skull or something if you tried to go that fast. But anyway, here's an example I found of a studio actually using it, which completely shits on what I've just said, pretty much. And here we are, one of my favorite clips. Not going to lie to you, but it's got some really good examples of all the principles. The squash and stretch one being here, where Miles jumps up, he stretches, very nice, as he's coming into land. His entire body is stretched out, not too extreme, but when he comes in, you can see how much he stretches down. It's the same model Miles, but look how different he looks. Look at that change. That's quite an extreme change. And then when he jumps, he stretches out again, and he comes up. And I am pretty sure they break the leg there. That does not look normal compared to the rest of his body. But if you can get away with it, you can get away with it. Then when he comes back in, he stretches again. And then he squashes once more because he's landing. That's the force. That's the extreme speed of him coming down. Then once again, look at that stretch. That is a mental stretch, even if I did see one. And there's the stretch again coming in, and he squashes so much that he has to catch himself with his hands. So that would be that. And then he jumps once more. Let's see if you'll see it. Yep, there's the stretch. He goes from being compressed to stretched like a spring. That's how you would use it in 3D, at least. There's not many uses for it, but make sure you're using it to convey speed and impact. That is the main takeaway from this one little lesson here. yeah, that'll be that.